Hey, welcome to Bluejay Banter Postgame Show live from Let It Fly Sports Bar after a thrilling Creighton victory, 77-67, along with my partner, Austin Chapman. Don't hate. He's an Eagles fan, all right? Let him have his 24 hours of glory here before he gets crushed,
48,
all right?
48.
We must be doing something right. Every show now, we have a huge gallery in here for the show. Yeah,
We like the
love it.
gallery.
Love
We
it.
love
Love
the
it.
peanut gallery.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're growing. We hit that first level. We're so happy about that. Austin thinks it's all him. We'll let him believe that.
Nope.
And big show today. We got Mason Miller on, who played significant minutes today. We're going to talk to Mason about the huge win. And then Coach Jeff Vanderloo will be with us as well to break down the game and talk about what their strategy was. And I thought it was brilliant. Well, I knew that run was coming. I didn't want it to be a 12-0 run, which it was. I was more like, hey, I'm okay with a 6-0 run here, but
Yeah.
they're too good a team not to be able to hold them down for 40 minutes.
Game of runs. You do the best you can, and I think we did a pretty good job of more or less taking away, everything outside of Jones, allowing everybody else to score. Did a great job there. But just good basketball. You could tell they're kind of locked into another mission right now. This one didn't seem to faze them. They kind of know what's coming, over these next 3 or 4 games or so, that it was just more or less job's not finished type of mentality. Get the job done. Get to the next one.
Yeah. High-level basketball game today. High level.
Absolutely.
High level. I thought first half we did a great job on Cam Jones. I mean, I looked up and saw 12 points. I'm like, man, really? I didn't see that.
They were sneaky.
The second half, Marquette just said, Cam, you got to do it for us. And he had the ball in scoring position almost every possession down the floor. They were just going to say, hey, he's going to do it for us, and, he's going to get his points. But here's the thing that I pointed out to people. When you watch Marquette, yes, they've got Cam Jones and Stevie Mitchell and Joplin, on and on and on. The guys that break the other team's backs are Parnham, Gold, and Ross. Those guys hit huge shots when, the other team thinks they've got them covered. We basically blanked those other three. Yeah. They did not. They said, Cam Jones, you go ahead, but we're not going to. We kind of Joplin kind of disappeared the second half. But I think, obviously, Jason Green defended either Joplin or Jones a lot today, and I thought we did a great job. But I thought the game plan was perfect.
It was pretty high level. Of course, me being a stickler and somebody that was pretty close in, that there were some things that you could definitely clean up, to be a championship team. But playing a team of this caliber, and being able to execute at the level that they did, I think there's a lot to walk away with your head held high. But I also think, I just know that those guys also feel that this game probably should have reflected a little more of the beating.
I mean, when they took that lead, we were commenting, it'd be one thing if Marquette was up 8 the whole game, but to have an 11-point lead and blow it in the side, this is going to be crushing if we lose this game. Yeah. And again, like we said, time and time again with this team, the last 4 minutes, this team is outstanding.
I think a large part is Ash, man. Ash is
oh God, I don't know how he does it.
High-level player. I know we talk a little about the turnovers and the carelessness on the, I guess you could say, with the ball from the onlooker, but his confidence, his ability to hit timely shots, his ability to know when to take control over the game, it's high level, and I think he's making a case to be that second one in.
You're right.
Right.
You're right.
And we're going to see how these next couple games, round out. But I think we potentially could get a third one in because Jemiah snuck in.
Oh,
14,
my God. So he's sitting on his butt for, 4 or 5 minutes, comes out, and in true Jemiah fashion, just sticks a 25-foot guarded three. I mean, that's what he does. He took over. He took over that little stretch there from like 3.5 minutes to 2, got us in the lead, and then Ash, of course, had the backbreaker at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, which he keeps having, right?
Yep.
It's been game after game.
Yep.
He's in
I know it.
the timely shot.
All right, let's, before we get into one of our segments, let's talk about our sponsor, Care Miners Home Health Care. Fabulous sponsor. We want to thank them so much. Yeah, if you're in need of care for your injured, ill, or senior loved one, reach out to Care Minders Home Health Care. Their agency is comprised of certified caregivers who have many years of experience. You'll receive versatile, flexible, and customized care for your comfort, peace of mind, and a loved one. Go to CareMindersNebraska.com today and check out everything they have to offer. So the time may not be now where you need them, but it may be down the road. And this way you'll be able to know exactly what they offer. And then when it's time, you can give them a call, 402-532-1383. That's 402-532-1383. And it is now time for Coach's Corner. We got assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo with us. Coach.
Thanks, brother.
Great game.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, Caleb, we got to get Jeff's mic up here. Coach, I know one of the things you wanted to do was push them out on the screens, which I thought you did a good job of. But I thought we were just discussing the second half. They just basically said, Cam, here you go. Try and win it for us.
Yeah, they just kept screening and screening until they got the matchup that he wanted, and he was able to go left. And when you let Cam go left, you're in trouble. And he's got a good feel, and he's got a good body. He knows how to score it around there. And he took advantage of Steven a few times down low. And actually, towards the end, we got Ryan switched onto him quite a bit, and I was like, that might be the best matchup we got is having Ryan guard him, because Ryan's moving him and trying to score with him over the top of him is not a real easy deal. So what that really does is it forces Cam outside and into try to shoot threes. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a fantastic player. Let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah, but I think you're okay with him taking tough twos, right?
Yeah, that's
especially
what we want.
When you got up 3-4 points, that's,
Yeah.
They're in fact losing possession to possession because we were hitting some threes.
Right, and that's early in the game. We weren't guarding Stevie Mitchell real hard, and
you were making him shoot that
making
three.
him shoot, and it ended up, he hit a first one or two there, but then it kind of went south, and then he like airballed a couple, and it went. Then it went, and it was like, okay, so they end up taking out one of their very best. Main cog of their team.
Defense.
Yeah, defensively.
He's right there with Cog for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, no question. So, really good player, but it ended up working to our advantage. And, sometimes you do that kind of stuff and it works, and sometimes it doesn't, but you got to play the odds. And Coach Mack's really good at devising a game plan, to make teams do things that they don't want to do.
I know people sometimes get frustrated with that, and I'm like, hey, go back and think of the other 8 games where Coach did play the odds, and it worked out perfectly, right?
You're going to find examples, and I always go back to that Oregon game last year, and the guy was cooking us coming off that ball screen, and then all of a sudden at the end of the game, it was like, hey, Mac went out, we trapped it a little bit, and all of a sudden gave him all kinds of problems. We're not afraid to adjust, but we have a philosophy, and we're going to stay with it for the most part.
Well, that and having that freshman at the end fouling wasn't totally bad either.
Right. It all worked.
We were just talking about Jemiah. Jemiah does what Jemiah does, right? He was sitting on the bench for 4 or 5 minutes, and he comes out.
Yep.
First thing he does,
fires a three.
Crazy. A contested 25-foot three and nothing but net.
Not only was Marquette all over him, I was yelling no from the bench.
Yeah.
That's what he does, though, man.
So
when it goes up, I'm like, that's going in. You know that's going in.
At times, he came in there, and you could just tell he had the juice back. And there was even a timeout when he was out of the game, and he was telling them, guys, we got to play this as 5 guys. We're letting them isolate one guy. We got to close the gaps up and stuff. And he was definitely right. And that's one thing he's very good at. And he wants to win, and he's really bought into our culture. And
do you think he's gotten better at that over time?
No question. Yeah,
that's like what's changed his game over time, right?
And his big selling point when Mac got him is that his shooting percentages have all been bad,
right?
Because he's always taking bad shots.
Yep.
If you take 6 good shots but you throw 4 bad ones in there, your shooting percentage. But now all of a sudden, if you take 9 good shots and just 1 bad shot, things are usually going to be they're going to be better. So he's bought into that, and defensively he can really get down and slide his feet.
Right, and like you said, he was feeling the juice, and then he got that sloppy 4th foul, and then that put him on the bench again right when he got it going. But I kind of felt Marquette at the end was, they were doubling front and back and caulk.
Yep.
And then hoping they could get out on the guy on the strong side.
Yep.
And they had to somewhere along the way single somebody up.
Right.
And they felt, well, we could take Jemiah one-on-one, but they couldn't.
Right. And that's, Jemiah's as good or better athlete than those guys are. And, they've got great athletes, too. I don't want to make it sound like he was playing against a bunch
but
of
he's
stiffs,
tough once he gets going downhill, man.
No doubt. When he gets going downhill in that right hand, he knows how to use his body and put his body onto people and still get his shot up. And he's got a nice little fadeaway there, especially for about 12 foot. And if you give him open threes, he's good at that, too.
Capable.
Yeah.
I know we had a few turnovers today, but for a team that gets a ton of deflections like they do,
right.
And I've kind of, frankly, noticed this. Now, let's be fair here. I know everybody's like, oh, my God, Marquette's lost 3 in a row. They've lost to UConn, St. John's, and Creighton.
2 really high-rated teams and one that
2
should
of
be
them
rated.
on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like they're collapsing.
Well, I believe, don't they have both of them coming to their place now, too? So,
No, they got to go. No, they got to go. They got to go.
St. John.
They got to go to
UConn.
They got one home, one away.
Yeah.
So,
UConn beat them at Marquette. Yep.
So they've got, one thing I have noticed in this stretch, so when they play the better teams, you don't see them getting in those passing lanes as much as they had earlier on, maybe playing, the middle part of the league, because you have just better players. Okay, let's face it.
Well, and it's hard to get out into those lanes when you're committing as many people to Kalkbrenner as you are.
Yes.
And Ryan came out to start the game and just was absolutely kicking them.
It was dominant.
And then all of a sudden they went, well, we got to help, and so they started coming from all angles to help him. Well, then that leaves open the shooters.
Here's, I think, a sneaky thing. We're talking with assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo. Sneaky thing about this game too. When you watch Marquette a lot, everybody's all over Jones, Joplin, Stevie Mitchell, on and on.
Yep.
When I watch them play, the 3 guys that just put daggers in other teams are Gold, Parnham, and Ross. And today we pretty much blanked those 3.
Yeah. Chase had a couple of issues with the fouls.
Right.
That was really how he's really.
But Gold did nothing.
Yeah, Gold did not.
And Parnham, I think, hit 1 3.
Actually, I think if you look at the analytics, is it Parham? Their numbers are better with him in the game than with Gold. So they went with him. I think he actually he played 22 minutes and Gold only played 17.
Gold hasn't done it as much this year as last year, I guess is what I'm thinking.
I don't think Gold's made a 3 in 4 games.
Yeah. Okay. So there again, against a better competition. That's what happens.
Playing numbers, man.
Yeah, and that's their one weakness is they don't have that true big. And I guess the other, I'm trying to think. UConn has a true big.
Yeah.
St. John's kind of does, and then we obviously have one of the best in the country. So when they get into this 3-game stretch against those teams, you got to pick your poison there.
Amen. That's and Ryan and Steven, if we can get them into 2-on-2 games, we're in pretty good shape. And then you throw it over there to those shooters, whether it's Jackson or whether it's Isaac or and Jason Green gave us huge minutes today too.
Yep.
So he spent a lot of time guarding
Got on the rim a little bit.
Yeah. So he's you don't always notice all those little contributions from guys like that, but they're huge.
Yes, sir.
What so besides I know yesterday at practice you were like trying to force those guys out, and they didn't really fan out into even they didn't even go down the lane on those ball screens. They were more looking to just get the, like you said, get the matchups.
Right.
But besides that, what else were you trying to do today defensively?
Well, I guess the early we were guarding Stevie. We were trying to have Ryan stay under there. So what they did was they took him out and brought in another shooter. Well, then we had to guard, and we where we failed a little bit was we didn't seam up or get into the gaps enough defensively, helping people that maybe we should have, and they would get those one-on-ones and be able to drive it. Once they got Kalkbrenner out guarding on the perimeter, and it was almost to our advantage to have Ryan guarding on the perimeter, guarding the ball. Because those guys would go one-on-one, and he's fine with that. Where the problem is when they're attacking other people, and Ryan's out guarding somebody on the other side, and then there's really no help.
That happened a few times.
And our guys are so used to having help at the rim.
That when it's not there.
It's like, if somebody beats me, that's fine. Ryan's got me this time. And but with the switching that we were having to do against them, Ryan was out on the perimeter having to guard, and it created some problems.
Yeah. The other thing I noticed was when Cam did get inside, and it was Ryan, He was panicking.
Yeah,
one time he dribbled it off his foot.
Yeah.
He threw one up that barely hit the rim.
Ryan blocked one of them, and I seen Cam say something.
Oh,
to him.
Yeah, that one where he dropped out of bounds.
Yeah.
Ryan
just started laughing.
Like,
I haven't asked Ryan what he said. But yeah, Ryan, he just probably laughed.
Yeah.
That's who he is. That's what he does.
Oh, shucks.
Yep.
Well, wow, what an atmosphere today, huh?
Yeah, it was great. That was one of our recruits is. I mean, he was just like, that was crazy, man. That was crazy.
I hadn't felt that in a while.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that.
And then we're going to see you Tuesday.
Yep, let's do it again.
Yep.
I'm sure they'll be fired up for.
Let's
for
hope
Coach
we don't
Shirley.
have any big snowstorm that they say could be coming.
Yeah, but it'll be great.
It's UConn, man.
Yeah, it's UConn. They're playing. I thought they had that St. John's game last night. They played great. What were they up? 14 somewhere in there.
Yes.
Yep. I thought they had that under control and.
Just and we don't want to get too far ahead here, but just St. John's. What I've noticed in the last 2 weeks with them, their defense has always been good, but it seems like it's gone to another level.
No doubt. No doubt.
Level.
Yeah, they're big time. They're good. I mean, I used to think they were good, but they've turned into great.
Yeah. Still,
doubt.
you've got if you can handle that though, they're still limited offensively. Like even last night, they only scored 60.
I guess that was my question though. So like when we get to playing these numbers, playing analytics, right? Is there going to be a time where that guy ends up, per se, coming in Colt Ryan, to throw one back for the fans?
Yeah, it's possible.
Right.
It's Mac's all about the numbers. If you ever play golf with him, or you ever go to the horse races with him, he's all about the numbers, and that's what we are. That's our philosophy. Yeah, I mean, everybody's got different philosophies. Some people force baseline, but we play the numbers, and we do to play for us. You have to be have a great scouting report. You have to understand all of that, because one time you're guarding Cam Jones, and you're going to guard him this way, and we're going to force him this way, and then the very next time you might be guarding Joplin, and you're guarding him totally different. And you have to understand who you're guarding, which that's what makes our defense good. And also having Big Ryan back in the back.
That didn't hurt. I would have loved to have him.
I noticed last night when St. John's going to go in the second half, man, you cannot let them get in that sweet spot at the 15-foot line, especially Richmond. Let Richmond shoot those threes all night long. Don't let them get to the free throw line.
We talk about that all the time. And when he was at Seton Hall, that was the whole thing. You can't let him get to there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can let him shoot open threes. You can't let him get to that 12 foot.
That's not used to what we're seeing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a little bit
Totally
different.
different.
Adjusting.
Totally different. Yeah.
So, but
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're jumping way too far ahead.
No,
let's go back one game, because I think we have a game on Tuesday.
Yep.
Which will be high level, but obviously we have to put that on CBS Sports Net.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What was the TV planning on that one?
What was the game today?
I mean,
it was on ESPN. I was going to watch Iowa State, and they were on ESPN Plus.
A lot of Big 12 games have been that this year.
I think the Iowa State-Kansas game was on ESPN.
They assume you're getting paid enough.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Here's my point with ESPN. They have the ACC network, okay, and the SEC network. They can put games on there. Why not put more Big 12 on your ESPN2? ESPNU, so forth, and they don't seem to do that. Whatever, but that's beside the point.
That's not what Coach DeVries thinks.
No.
Well, I'm glad Mom and the boy got a nice time in New York before he had surgery.
He had a little shoulder surgery.
Ashley tweeting out those pictures, and that sounded like they went to a Knicks game. They had a good time.
Tuck's had a tough go, but I think he's going to be bouncing back here real good.
But anyway, I would think with the whole thing last year with Hurley, I would think this would be like a Fox game. You know what I mean? Like,
it'd be big.
Yeah. But anyway, UConn, McNeely's back, and I just think that's part of the reason they've gone into this little slide was without him, because he was carrying that team for a long stretch for a freshman, doing an outstanding job. Played well last night, but still you could tell he's not 100 yet with that ankle.
He's probably not, but there's a reason he's a lottery pick. Not a lot of lottery picks come into the building. So he's a really good player. He's got good size and he scores it well. And so I mean he'll be a big part of the plan. We got to figure out how to get him slowed down a little bit.
Yep. What else concerns you? Obviously, Caravan's always a concern.
Caravan, and now instead of Caravan having to carry the whole load. It looked like Diarra maybe was a little slowed last night.
I thought so
he moved a little bit.
So too.
And Mahaney, the kid that we recruited fairly hard.
Yeah.
I thought I read that he has a hamstring pull, so
he's kind of struggled on and off throughout the year.
Right,
I think,
and then I've seen
the
a couple games where he's kind of came in and really helped him, but for the most part, he maybe hasn't scored like I thought he would score for him. I thought he'd be a
totally different system, and different league, and it's tough.
Yeah,
it's tough. And that's why credit to a guy like Jemiah.
Yeah,
I mean, totally different league, totally different system to come in and to get adjusted as quickly as he can. And look, there were bumps.
Yeah,
there were bumps. There still are bumps. But
right.
Man,
Yep,
put that ball in that dude's hands with 2 minutes to go. It's going to – and we get back to what we're talking to. This team, for whatever reason, you get in the last 3 minutes, this team is nails.
Yeah, they're
no matter who they're playing.
When you have experience, they're old. We're old.
Yeah.
I mean, Jackson's really our only first timer going through it. I guess Fedor now a little bit, but Fedor's still old. He's been in front of crowds like the one we had today many times.
Yeah, he doesn't get rattled.
Yeah, and so I always say that when it comes down to big games like that at the end, that it's guards control things, and Steven does a great job of controlling it. I'll tell you what else you don't want to do: foul him.
Right.
No. You don't want to foul him.
Right.
Is he at over 98%?
Yes.
Something like
that.
Free throws.
Right at
yeah,
about
98. That's incredible.
That's unheard of.
Yeah.
That means when you have a 4-point lead, the game's basically over.
Well, he just needs, and I'm always on him at the timeouts. Go get the ball. Go get it. He's like, he knows.
And I can see the teammates are doing a great job of looking for him.
They want him to have it too.
Yeah.
It would make sense.
Yeah, they want him to have it too.
Lou, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks,
appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
That's assistant coach Jeff Vanderloo, and his segment was sponsored by Care Matters, but we're going to talk right now about Discount Window and Door of Omaha. Want to thank them so much for joining us. If you need new windows, this is the place to call. Discount Window and Door of Omaha. They do a fantastic job from start to finish. And, man, I've got new windows in my house from them, and we couldn't be happier. It's saved us on heating, air conditioning, everything else. So it's been fabulous. And they have a trusted reputation. They have great experience and a solid reputation for excellence. And they've earned the trust and loyalty of a lot of folks here in Omaha. So give them a call, 402-884-8989. That's 402-884-8989. Let's see. We got some chats. Let's hear it. Drew says, hey, CU alum in Milwaukee, how we doing, baby? I'm sure he's pretty fired up.
Doing well.
And then he said, different game if Neal gets that fifth foul. Well, that's true. I guess it'd be a totally different game in Providence if all those centers got their fifth foul, too.
Yeah.
Creighton won't be flying under the radar anymore after this weekend. I don't know that they were actually flying under the radar, maybe nationally a little bit, but I've heard some national people.
But
I've heard national people bring up the fact that they'd won 8 in a row and are right there.
I think us Creighton fans know it's hard to crack it nationally, right? So until we make enough noise, you generally don't hit that. But I think the people that know that we've been making enough noise and making enough effort to kind of get better game after game. Fedor kind of stepping into one that. A lot of talent, right, and a lot of unknowns too from a team that you think you've seen everything, and I don't think we have,
No,
So,
I mean, I still don't think we played that unbelievably awesome game. You know what I mean?
Ceiling is I think is still untapped. So, a lot of fun still to be had.
The other thing too with this comment about Jemiah and his fifth foul, Fedor's coming in giving not only. People thought he was just going to come in and be a shooter. He's more valuable on the defense end to me and able to take it to the hole like he did today and get fouled and hit those free throws.
That and just being able to be that that extra cog in the offense, right?
Yes.
That isn't the ball's not sticking with his hand, right? Somebody that knows he's a shooter, a professional shooter, knows to get off the ball, knows to make a cut. We kind of have this offense, him kind of being able to see Ashworth move and kind of figuring out where he's finding extra shots. I hate to make comparisons, but I think there's a lot of what they're doing is similar to Golden State, right? After a while, Fedor is going to start looking like Klay Thompson and starting to coming off a lot of just down screens, ball screens, getting downhill, making 2-3 dribbles, collapsing
Ash's
defense.
Curry then?
Who's that?
Ash's Curry then?
A figment of that, yeah.
Who's Draymond?
You need either go Jason or Trout.
Okay.
But I like Jason.
All right.
But I think that's what I mean. Like, we're untapped. So I still think roles are still in a place to where they're not defined yet. And, like, being this late in the season, generally roles are already defined. And I still think we're kind of figuring it out as we kind of have, our next host, our guest coming on, that he's still, I think, finding out where his role is in the offense, in the game, and, just kind of where he fits comfortably in the team. I still think there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, I do too. I think we talked about this. If you notice today, Isaac was not getting that stick the leg out call today.
No,
the refs are like, we ain't calling that.
He wasn't.
And then the three he hit, he did not stick the leg out. He went straight up and down.
Yep.
Just nailed it.
I just think the last couple games, the refs have just been a little more stringent, and not being as lenient as they generally would, kind of calling our game. So it's a point of emphasis, we'll say.
Well, sure. And again, just like Lou said, the dynamic duo of Ash and Kalk is really it's just snowballing now.
It's unmatched right now, and like, you have to stop those two, and then we're starting to find out who our other aspects are scoring, right? So Jemiah still came out with 14, and bench was kind of able to provide extra efforts here and there, get some extra hands on balls. The only thing there was, their points off turnovers, and we were still able to kind of win somewhat handedly. That's where different strides are starting to be made, I think, right? Mm-hmm. I think games, especially at the beginning of the year, we'd have a exorbitant amount of turnovers and then being these nail-biter games. And this was just something that I just thought was head and shoulders above, where maybe we aren't looked at, as being this good, but, they're damn good. They're damn good. I'll say that. They're damn good.
And you think about it, last game, we're on the road at Providence. They're not, they're not elite defensively. But anyway, only 5 turnovers. Today, this team is elite. I mean, that's what Shaka hangs his hat on.
Yep.
Don't they have that deflection stat? Or how many deflections they get?
Yep.
8 turnovers today.
Yep.
And a couple of those.
But like I said, they did score 17 off turnovers.
Yeah.
So, they execute on those. But
we had 2 backbreakers in a row. One in the first half, one in the second half. We turned it over. And then they came down and hit a 3, and I said, wow, that's a 5-point swing. And the same thing happened in the second half when they made that run. So that's like a 10-point swing on those 2 turnovers. You know what I mean?
Fair.
And they're the kind of team that can hit a lot of threes. Now, not that UConn can't, but they're not as proficient. You don't have as many guys out there that
you have to game plan.
Constantly hit the threes.
A lot of it, you have to game plan, right? So when you're actually, exerting as much as you have to on the mental end, that they have to, of sending to it, Kalk. We have to know we have these shooters here. We got Jemiah on the weak side. There's just so much that you have to accumulate for that. I just think at the end of the day, it's just too much to go back down on the offensive end and execute as well, that you've kind of maxed at kind of where your energy level is meant. And that was the same thing we saw with Dixon, to where you couldn't put the output on the offensive side. That, was great.
Well, is that Jay?
That was.
Looking sharp. He was looking sharp.
That's who we should.
Jay Hensmaniga out here. See, everybody wants to get in here and be in the gallery. We only let certain people in.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'm a great person to be around.
Well, Marquette, after losing 3 in a row, can just take a big sigh of relief. Here's who they have next: DePaul and Seton Hall.
Yeah.
So they're going to get well. But then they go Villanova, Providence, Georgetown, and then they end with UConn St. John's. So they've got a big stretch to the end. So they can get well here and then be still a factor in this league race, even though they've got 4 losses right now. So
where I feel like they had early on, they probably had one of the tougher, conferences.
Played a tough non-conference schedule too.
I would say
they played a tough non-conference schedule and did very well with it.
And I feel like they kind of hit their wall a little earlier, and now they're kind of figuring out who they are as a team. So.
Look at the teams they beat. They beat Maryland, Purdue, Georgia, all NCAA tournament teams.
Right.
And then had a close loss to Iowa State, and then flipped around and beat their arch rival Wisconsin.
Yep.
So they've beaten some big
Yep.
teams this year. Man, Tuesday night's going to be lit. 8 o'clock game.
Lit. I like that. Yeah, it's going to be a big
What do you
one.
think the keys are in that game?
I don't think there's anything that we got to go outside of ourselves. I think that, the past 4 or 5 games they've been showing, they're improving on, something that they did the past game that maybe they thought they can get a little bit better on. And it's just building blocks. And I think today they're just going to more or less build off of, what they have been the past 5 games. And it's just going to continue to just build chemistry, right? And I think just being a unit wins championships. Not only just defense, but also having the chemistry there, which I feel from 1 to about 14, they're all just, there for the team, the betterment of the other individual. So that's just the greatest thing you could have, at the end of the day, knowing that, the second, third man are cheering you on as much as they are, would be for themselves. So the selflessness of this team is huge.
Yeah. Now, the big thing from game 1 to game 2 is we didn't face McNeely. So that's going to be a different challenge.
It's never about who you see. It's about, I think they beat themselves now. I think they've shown us that nobody technically can come in and beat you. It's more or less you beating yourself. So you go out, you don't execute the game plan, and you don't give minimal effort. We've won games where we've shot the ball at, terrible clips and still came out with the W. So I think that's still the tide is turning on that side of the road to where, we shoot 40, 50% from 3. And like I said, this lead probably looks a lot different. And now you have that national media or that national news that you potentially should have. But they're doing something great, more or less for the marketing campaign.
So one of my buddies says the Jays are hotter than bird flu right now.
We don't like that.
Nice analogy there.
I like that, but we don't like that. We like to. I think we like to fly under the radar, and generally, you aren't going to get, have that target on your back.
No, bring it on. Bring it on. I say bring it on.
Let's beat UConn, and then we'll take that target. But
because then you would have 2 teams that have double-digit winning streaks.
And that,
although let's not get ahead of ourselves. They got to go. St. John's got to go to Villanova Wednesday. That's not going to be easy.
I'm not worried about that.
That's not easy for them.
If we can go to the Garden, win at the Garden at noon, I believe it is 1 noon.
Hold on.
That is going to say a lot about the team.
Hold on. I hate to interrupt you. Am I seeing that score? Florida's up 60-43 on Auburn?
Yeah.
Woo! Woo!
It's afternoon.
Woo!
It's afternoon, Tim.
At Auburn.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's, Auburn hasn't had even a remote game like that, man.
That's fair. I mean, everybody's human, right? They're not.
So somebody
robots.
said, "Did you like that game?" And I go, "No," because I think Florida could win that game. Actually,
That's fair. That's like when Golden State was 70 and whatever, right? They could have won every game they played, right? Like, they're human. You lose some, and maybe this is one they marked up.
Yep. All right, let's get to worst call of the night. Oh, I had one too.
I had one earlier that I was. It was
somebody said to me, they go, "Oh, there's your worst call."
It's tough to find a worst call when you're in there and those fans think every call's a worst call.
There was one right in front of him. Oh, I know. It was a hook. It was a Mason. They called a hook on Mason. I thought that was like. Well, they went and reviewed it.
No. Well, what I will say is that watching the game, just about everybody had been hooking. And so from Shaka to Mac, everybody had kind of been saying something about it. So it was more or less the next guy that hooks.
And they didn't call a hook and hold, so it couldn't have been that, egregious. But they did call the foul. They kept, they can't change the foul.
I thought it was a decent game, honestly.
Yeah.
And I just think
there was the one in front of Mac that O'Connell made the call on. O'Connell made a call on somebody right in front of Mac, and Mac went ballistic.
That was the emotion in the game.
Yeah, there was a screen out there. I think somebody got called for a screen. What I didn't understand was Shaka going ballistic on that offensive foul on, was it Joplin, I think, that just punched him in the throat? I'm like, how is that not a foul?
Because he was in the moment. I'm sure he watched his film and then
sees Ashford flop.
Yeah. Not even that, but he
That's
did.
what he was claiming. He claimed he flopped. I'm like, no, dude, he got
That's what everybody
smashed.
knows.
Yeah.
Because Ash just kind of tries to bait you, right? That's kind of what you do. You bait him, and then you get one at the end of the game. Ash has kind of been going in early, baiting you a little too early, flopping. But I think this one he took to the chest. Yeah, then he got hit in the throat. But he'll see that on film. And
all right, unsung hero.
I'm gonna have to say Jason Green.
Yeah.
Jason Green.
He borderline was a hero, but he wasn't quite there.
7.
Yeah, he had 7
2 blocks.
rebounds.
7 blocks.
Rebounds.
2 blocks.
Wow.
2 blocks. And he also played 33 minutes.
Yes.
Yes. And I think that's been, a little up and down here. And now him to actually get some play.
You can tell Mac was really trusting him
tonight.
And
he knew he was going to need a little more physicality. And I think he brings that on the daily, right? And he actually gets the other guys to actually start to, buy into that. So I'm going to have to go with Jason Green. Definitely.
Yeah, and plus, we're switching so much that he's a guy that can switch
1 through 5 if
yes,
he had to,
absolutely.
especially with Marquette. 1 through 5. 1 through 5.
Absolutely, yeah.
And as Luke kind of touched on, Kaka was able to move his feet and guard those guards and keep his perimeter, use his length. Yeah, absolutely.
Our intern Max said that win was Max approved.
We love to hear that, Max. I haven't seen you in I don't know how long, but I love to hear the approval and the validation of Max. I love that.
Max is doing great work. He's got all our analytics from all our shows.
Yep.
He rolled it out in front of me. And by the way, so if you're watching live on YouTube, that's great. But if you maybe are going on here and want to go down to where he's just got the videos posted. He does a cut-up copy of our live show. And I think you'll find that a little bit crisper and so forth to watch if you're watching this at a later time. And he was showing, I said, Max, you got 2 shows on there. I'm not really a fan of this. And he goes, well, pops up the old computer and shows me all the analytics and how well we've been doing. I'm like, okay, well, I got to shut up. You're just like Max, showing me all the analytics.
Max could tell us then. Have I provided value, Max?
We're going to let that one go. Everyone here is going to say, yes,
just
you
let
have.
it fly. No, they'll tell me no. I want Max to tell me. He's analytics, right?
And he's unbiased.
Right. Yeah, numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
They don't lie.
So anyway, and I have my nephew put in here. I did not know this. My sister's in town, so he said, hey, your sister's watching. Say hi. Hi, sis. How's it going?
Hello.
All right. Tuesday night, 8 o'clock tip. So that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one.
Let's hope we don't get the snow they're talking about. That'll kind of dampen the crowd at the women's game the other night, that ice. So I hope we don't get that snow.
I think there's enough of a build-up.
There's a lot of events going on beforehand because there's a little extra time. So that's good. That'll juice up the crowd. Again, the CBS Sportsnet thing just blows my mind.
It does, but when you're in Omaha, what does it matter? Right?
Oh, it doesn't. I'm just saying.
If you got 17,000 today, 18,000. What does it matter? And I think there's enough build-up that people believe in the team that I'm not too worried about that.
It's just crazy to me.
If you're watching from home,
I'm just trying to see what other
games
are on for the Big East that night that we have to have it on CBS Sportsnet.
That might be telling you something.
Don't. Here's who we have. We have DePaul Marquette's on Peacock, for crying out loud.
So I'm gonna tell you to take the over.
UConn, Creighton? Why is that? I need the over 1 more 3 today. So I need Joplin to hit that last 3. Do they have what is big? They have Big Ten, right? That's their other.
They got Big Ten. Nebraska might be playing.
There's nothing on there.
There's nothing.
No. On Tuesday, it's all Peacock.
There might be dressage
and
going
BTN.
on. That's a little more important.
Oh, you know what? They do have that Westminster dog show or whatever going on. Maybe that's it.
That or, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, we're still waiting on Mason. Oh, he's coming. All right. Well, let's go. Let's go right to Caleb. Let's go right to Care Minders Home Healthcare. Give a shout out to them once again. Go to caremindersnebraska.com. You'll see all that Care Minders has to offer. Fabulous sponsor of ours, and we really appreciate everything they do. If you need further assistance, give them a call, 402-532-1383. That's 402-532-1383. That's Care Minders, or go to caremindersnebraska.com for your personalized health care. All right. We've got a guy by the name of Mason Miller joining us.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Great game, buddy.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Congratulations. Whoa, what an atmosphere today, first of all, huh?
Yep. It was a great atmosphere tonight. Great atmosphere.
What did you see out there today?
I mean, we had a great crowd tonight, so, I mean, atmosphere was great, like you said. I mean, really came to play. I mean, they came to play, too, hit a lot of shots early, but, I mean, I think late we kind of had a lot of clutch shots. Stephen Ashworth, Ryan Cockrender's 3, so, I mean, great closing.
Jemiah.
Yeah, exactly. Jemiah, you can't even forget about that.
Jemiah's sitting on the bench for 10 minutes, then comes out and just says, I'm going to jack a 25-foot guarded 3.
Yeah,
but everybody knew that was going in, right? That's what he does.
That's exactly what he does, exactly.
So going into the game plan, a lot of defensive switches. You know, you were going to switch a lot. You got switched on Cam. I mean, he's just a tough guard, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's really shifty. I mean, he can break anyone down really in the country. I mean, he's up there with the best of them. So, I mean, having that, and then Jemiah in foul trouble, so we had to do some other matchups. Which me and Jason had to guard him, which we weren't really doing it in practice, so we had to adjust to that. But, I mean, ended out well, so, I mean, everything went well in the end.
Speak to that. I think that's a good point in practice and in your scout team and stuff and the job they do. Just talk about how helpful that is to you on game days to having gone through that whole process.
Yeah, I mean, we have a great scout team. I mean, everyone on our team, I mean, they know they know what we're doing every single time. I mean, we have every single play that they run. I mean, every action they run. So we know everything they're going to do before we get into games. So we're ready for everything. And if they change anything up, I mean, we'll have another play with Coach Mack having every answer to everything every game. So, I mean, it helps a lot.
And and we've talked a lot about how detailed it is, too. And I know yesterday Mac was telling you guys on those screens at the high ball screen to flatten it out and make that guy go to the sideline. I mean, that's just a little detail that, hey, that could go easily unnoticed with all the other things going on, but that little detail forces them out because Mac knew that there was times where Kalk was not going to be back underneath the rim. He was going to be out guarding somebody.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, they also made that pretty tough when they had Stevie Mitchell out of the game. They brought in 5 shooters.
Yes,
so having that, not having Kalk in the paint made it a lot difficult. I mean, it was definitely tough for us to do that, but I mean, obviously we have Cochran, one of the best defenders in the country, so he'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah.
Speak a little about your growth, about you know, over the past, I guess we'll call it 2 years, and just kind of where you are today, and just kind of, you know, how that process has been. You know, not shooting the ball maybe as best you want to, but being able to figure out other things too to help the team win.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously this year's a little different. My shooting is not as it was before. I mean, with the ankle injury or the leg injury, kind of putting a dent into that. But I mean, the difference is really just the defense. I mean, it's the first year where I've really been chose to guard like the best people, like the guys coming off of screens and staggers and everything. So having that change up is definitely a lot different. But I mean, I can definitely say this is the first year that I've subbed in for defense instead of offense.
Okay.
So, so
how's that been for the psych? Like,
I mean, I mean, sometimes it's up and downs, but I mean, that's basketball for you. I mean, there's always going to be up and downs in basketball, so you kind of just got to work through it, and you know that. I mean, there's always going to be a day when you're going to be needed when you need to.
Yep. So I'm assuming Pops is there, right? Trying to give you as much advice as possible. Is there anything that's important that's stuck?
I mean, Pop. Yeah, I mean, I mean, obviously he helps me with everything. I mean, the game. I don't know which game exactly what it was, but I know I hit 2 threes. I mean, he came in town before that, and we worked on our shot and everything. Yeah. I just gotta make sure to stay in the gym and keep getting everything. Exactly.
Stay at it.
Stay at it. Exactly.
I want to compliment you. You go back a couple games. You were sitting out almost the whole game, and you got put in the end. And your deflection got Jemiah the offensive rebound late in. That was like the difference of the game.
Winning plays.
I mean, so is it? So when you come in a situation like that, you're like, okay, and obviously it helps not being a freshman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You've been there before and done that, right?
Yep. I mean, you know, I mean, I'm used to it, obviously, but you always got to try to make a play when you're in the game because you don't want to just be someone that stands on the sidelines the whole time and just stay out of the way. So you got to just, if you're coming to the end of the game, you have the most energy. You got to try to make something happen. And
Okay, Bob in our chat, so we'll just ask you this question.
Yep.
Since you had to guard him a little bit, he goes, why is it so difficult to block Cam Jones' shot? Always seems to go left. Is it release position? I mean,
yeah,
I would say it's a combination of things, right? I mean, his quickness, the way he moves to the left on that spin move and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, it's really the shiftiness. Like, he'll have a lot of head fakes. Like, he'll show like he's about to shoot the ball. He'll like quick stop. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything. I mean, the guy has the spin move, obviously, like you guys were saying. But, I mean, it's really just like his head fakes and just is like, you can't really tell when he's going to shoot.
Yeah,
almost.
Getting
It's
you
like-
out of position more or less, and then kind of taking advantage out of
And
point.
obviously it helps him having the really good finish game so he can finish any way he wants, under you, over you, whatever he wants, really.
Is lefty make any difference, lefty or righty, just because most guys are
I
right-handed?
mean, it could definitely change, like the way people are used to guarding righties. So when someone comes in with their left hand, it's a little different foot angle and everything. The angle he goes to the rim and everything. So I mean, that could definitely change something there.
Pretty good scout yesterday, though. You had a guy who can kind of shoot it from the left side. Mitch Ballack being Cam Jones in practice.
Yeah, no, having him, he's great for our scout team. I mean, he does everything that he do exactly. Like if he does a little spin move, he did probably 20 spin moves yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so
He was banking them in, throwing them off the glass. I was like, what's up with this?
Yeah, he's really good at showing the other team for sure.
Yeah, I did notice though when Cam got in tight a few times, he wanted no part of Kalk, and Kalk blocked one of his shots, and they were having a little back and forth, and you know.
Yeah.
And again, that gets back to what we were saying with somebody the other day about not particularly this game, but I think it was the Providence game or whatever we're showing. You know, guys weren't going in, and finally one guy will say, hey, this can't be that bad, right? And he goes in, and the next thing it's in the third row, and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
All right, Mason. Thanks.
Yep,
Big
thank
game
you.
Tuesday, huh?
Yep. Big game.
Pleasure, man.
All right. Thanks.
Stay
That's
confident,
Mason Miller.
Stay confident.
Thank you very
I
much.
want to appreciate him. I want to appreciate Lou. Thanks for watching. Everybody hit that subscribe button, and we will see you actually on Monday night on Bluejay Banter and then Tuesday after the game. Thanks.